Hey everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be the first official reading vlog of 2023. Technically there will have been one before, but this is the first one that I start this year, and we're not off to a good start. This week is a reset week. We're getting your together and stopping the bad habit that I already started. Listen, this is a judgment-free zone, but essentially I have been starting a million books. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because none of them feels like a 5-star so far, or I've just been so scattered brain with the last month posting so many videos. I've been joking that my last 2 brain cells have been fighting for their life, and it's no joke. So we're gonna go through the list of books I started in the last month. Ultimately, I would like to finish like 2 or 3, but either way, I just don't want to start another one, and I want to make it a priority to attempt to finish. So. Like I said, judgment-free zone, prepare yourself. I don't even want to count how many I started. It's like 7 or 8. So it's not good. To be fair, I feel like it started badly because last 2 weeks actually, I was focusing on giving some books a chance before I get rid of them. If you haven't seen it, it was a read it or unhaul it challenge last week with some YA fantasy and sci-fi. I'm pointing there because they were over there and now they're with the unhaul pile. So I started like 6 for that challenge, and I had already started some, and then as soon as I finished, I started trying a bunch of books, and it's just not... We don't want that for 2023. So, quickly, my TBR. The first book I started was Everyone in This Room Will Be Dead, will someday be dead. And my excuse, I am page 44 into it. My excuse is that this is a pretty depressing book because the main character is depressed. She has anxiety, and I feel like I can only go through it a couple pages at a time. Otherwise, I feel like it's affecting me too. I mean, I haven't seen the sun in weeks now. So yes, that's my excuse, reasoning behind still not being done with this. To be fair, I think that I can go through a couple pages every day if I make it a point and then read something else after, you know? That's going to be what I'm going to do with this one. Another one, actually, I started before I forget. Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. This is the secret project number 1. During the pandemic, he wrote 5 bonus books because he's barely human. And this is the first one that came out for January, and I started it. So far, I'm enjoying it. I'm 25% into it. It's giving strong Princess Bride vibes, which I didn't love that book. And I was trying to figure out why. I thought it was because of like the double narration, like it's 2 narration deep, and I thought that's what was bugging me in that one. And reading this one so far made me realize that no, I like the sense of humor, but for some reason I'm not really invested in the plot. So once again, I feel like I can't binge read this book and like solely focus on this book. So maybe I can again just read a couple pages a day and then read something else if I have to, because again, I'm enjoying it, just I can't binge read it. So those are the 2 worst ones. So I started the one because again I have issues. This is the Kaiju Preservation Society by Jen Scalzi. I need to stop saying kaiju. If I say it again, please shame me in the comment section. So kaiju, it's basically Godzilla, like the monster. And this is really funny. Like, it's not too big. I'm almost 100 pages into it. I'm at chapter 12, so page 97. And I started this one because this one and the Brandy Sandy one were just taking me forever. So I started this one. I'm going really fast into it. And so far, it's like I said, it's funny. You have this man who works at an app, a delivery, food delivery app during the pandemic, and he gets another job, which includes taking care of kaijus. And so far I'm really enjoying the sense of humor. It's fast-paced, so I have a good feeling about this one too. I started this one. This is the one I've started a while ago, like about a month ago, and I was enjoying it, but it was before it came out, so maybe it was 2 months ago. Either way, I started it. I have yet to continue. I now have access to the audiobooks, so once I'm done with what I'm currently reading, this is going to be the next one because, again, I want to focus on it and finish it. I've also started this one as a physical book for nonfiction. Like I said, it's just... Actually, there's also audiobooks. Let me grab my phone. To be fair, I just finished Toxic Positivity, so I am going through, you know, my audiobooks. But I have 2 that I have started, but I'm making the executive decision to DNF it because I was reading Leftover in China, which is about the leftover women phenomenon where basically women, when they're past the age of 30, they're considered leftover if they're not married with kids. And I wanted to read about this because I'm trying to read about feminism, and I thought I was going out of my way to try and find books written by women experiencing these things, but as I was listening to this one, I realized that I mixed that book up with another one because something felt off, and I looked into it, and the author is not Chinese. I think she's white, and I was reading the reviews, and some people were saying that they were like microaggression, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not something she has experienced herself, even though she lived, I think, 5 years in China. And like, no offense to her, maybe I was noting things without realizing, but basically, this isn't what I was signing up for. This isn't the book I thought I was reading, and I'm going to put it down and get a book written by someone that has experienced it or at least lives in that culture. So yeah. So that's one remove from my TBR at least. And I also started The Maid, which was the winner for the Goodreads Choice Award in the mystery thriller category. So that's the one I will be focusing on. And once it's done, then I can switch to the audiobook of this one. But we'll see. Listen, I know I said judgment-free zone, but like, it's a bit ridiculous. We need to go, bring it down a little bit. So at least there's one, like I just said, I'm removing it from my TBR. So there's that. And then I think I'm going to focus on this one and the Brandon Sanderson one, reading a couple pages every day, and then switching to this one if I feel like I can't focus on it. I don't know why. Maybe it was just the beginning for both of them. Maybe I'll binge read them. We'll see what happens. But if I can't finish them, I'll focus on this one. So my goal is to finish 2 or 3 this week. I feel like I can do that. Listen, it needs to happen. This is just so out of control. So we want to start 2023 on the right foot. So I need to do this. Good morning. I wanted to update you on the shit show that this vlog is about. Honestly, I knew I wasn't going to focus on one book to make progress. I knew it. But I'm still actively reading 5 books, which is just ridiculous. I haven't finished one, to no one's surprise, since I'm reading 5 of them. But we're getting there. The goal is that by the end of the week, which I haven't had a ton of time, that's why this vlog is literally just updates. Probably will be the case for the whole vlog. But once in a while, it's fine, right? We're focusing on the books. And okay, let's just do it. Okay, the best one, the one I've made the most progress in, is this one, Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead, which that was my goal. I was forcing myself to read a little bit of this every day, and then I could read whatever. It's not that I'm not enjoying it. Again, it's just because it's very depressing. But I've made some great progress, as you can see. I believe I was at page 44. Now I'm at 166. So like, yay me. Things are going well, still depressing, but there's a few things that made me laugh. Let's not go with that one. That one is not that funny. It's just an interesting commentary. Okay, but page 69, she was talking about, it's not even that funny, but it made me laugh because she's always like, it's mostly like little stories every time that just showcase her life and her anxiety and everything, and how she's overthinking everything, which I guess a lot of us can relate to that part at least. And she's thinking about everything that is disgusting about humans. And then she's like, I think about how every human has a butt and about how disgusting that is. Which, like, I guess if you overthink everything, one day you can make some discoveries like this. But yes, that was the funniest part in the book so far. But yes, I'm enjoying it. I don't think this is going to be like an all-time favorite, but I do think it's a great representation of anxiety, depression, everything. So yes, made some great progress with that one. The second one that I made the most progress-ish, at least physical book, is the Kaiju Preservation Society. That's basically what I was doing. I was trying to read a couple pages of this and then would switch to this one. I believe I was at chapter 12 and now I'm at chapter 18. So I'm at 156. So things are going well. I'm really enjoying this one. It's really funny. I can hardly put it down except when I'm tired. And I feel like at this point, I'm at the moment where things can go anywhere. Like right now it's a 4 stars. I just need the plot to get interesting. It's not that it was boring. It's just that since it's a funny book, it's short, it's quick. It's definitely something I would recommend to people that are like, oh, I haven't read a book in like 50 million years. What can I read? This. It's short and funny. I like it. But I feel like it still needs the plot to sustain it. Otherwise, it's going to get a bit meh for me. I'm hopeful because things so far have been good. But yes, I'll talk about it more once I'm done with it. But so far, so good. and I've made some progress, read 6 chapters. I don't know where my phone is, but I was listening to The Maid. I had just started it when I did the intro because I was giving up on the other book, and I'm now, actually, I can't find my phone. It's literally in my pocket. I'm at 29%. So I'm 2 hours and 50 minutes into 9 hours and something. Anyway, I don't know how I feel about this one. I feel like it was the winner in the Goodreads Choice Award, right, for the mystery thriller section, and I had heard nothing but awful things about it, but it won, so like some people voted for it, so I wanted to see how I felt about it, and I'm finally getting to a point where I get it now, because at first I was like, okay, it's fine, like you have the main character, she's a maid, she's neurodivergent, and she lived with her grandmother who unfortunately passed away, so like she's, you know, struggling, and where she works, she ends up finding the body of this rich man that was it not, we don't know if he was murdered or not, but you know, assumption. And I'm at that point where now I get it, because it went from, okay, she's not very good at social cues, to be expected, to like a little too far that it feels almost like they're mocking, like the author's mocking the character. Anybody else feels like that? Again, 29% into it, so I might change my mind. But we also went through, at about 25%, a scene where I cringed too hard. I get secondhand embarrassment pretty easily, but there's a limit. At one point, I just want to turn off the TV, or in this case, turn off the audiobook. Basically, I don't think it's a spoiler, but like, spoiler, I guess. I don't even know if it's going to be important to the story, probably not. But her grandmother was putting money aside for her, knowing that, you know, she was not going to live forever. And the first boyfriend that she had basically stole all of that money. And like, she doesn't want to go to the police because reasons. And I just got so much secondhand embarrassment. I'm like, don't do that. It's just so dumb. Anyway, I'm not sure why or how important this is going to be to the plot, but like, it just, I hate it. Anyway, so yes, I was okay until the first quarter, and it's getting worse. Like, the social cues are getting way worse, and it's like part of the plot for like the murder mystery, and right now I'm not feeling it. I'm hoping it will change my mind, of course, but right now, like I said, it kind of feels a bit like mocking the character. Anyway, then I'm also reading the ebook Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I was 25% into it. I'm 28% into it. So great progress, Emily. Literally just one time I couldn't fall asleep, and I was reading a little bit, and then I realized, no, I can actually fall asleep. So like, I read like 5 minutes. Yeah. So yeah, like I was saying, things are still very ridiculous. Why? Okay, to be fair, normally I will have up to 3 books that I'm actively reading. So like a physical fiction book, sometimes a physical nonfiction book, and then an audiobook. That's, you know, actively, that's probably as much as I should be doing. And right now, for the physical nonfiction, I have like 3. I mean, these 2, and then the Brandon Sanderson one. Like, that needs to be reduced to 1. Nobody needs to be actively reading 3 fiction books like this. No. I'm not enjoying myself, but I'm still feeling very overwhelmed, and I think that is being seen in my reading experience. I've been trying to like take it a little bit more relaxed because, you know, it's the time of the year we're starting, and I felt very overwhelmed in December. So one day at a time, and yeah, hopefully I'll have made some better progress by the end of the week, because so far yeah. Last update of the vlog, I'm really excited because I made some progress. I wanted to bring things down to a more reasonable number. Like, actively reading 5 books is a bit insane. I've been so sleepy, by the way. I don't think I've updated you, but I did do my sleep apnea test, but it took weeks to get an appointment to this other clinic, and they told me like 2 months before I get my results. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but they suggested I try to cut off caffeine to see if I sleep better. Apparently it helps people. I'm here to tell you, I'm not people, because it's not been helping. I have one of those like watches that like tell you, you know, how you slept kind of thing. Horribly has not changed. But I've been drinking these Ticino. They're like dandelion blend. I had like sample packs, and caramel nuts, which I'm drinking right now, and mocha mint are by far the best thing. They kind of taste like coffee, to be honest, but they don't have any caffeine. So I have been a zombie for the last 2 weeks. Today's like my best day. in the last 2 weeks. Maybe it's finally starting to come out of my system. Maybe I will start sleeping better. I don't think so. I'm still waking up with like dry throat. Like, I snored the whole night. Anyway, let's start this section by making fun of me, my favorite thing. So I continued reading Dress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. Last time I had went from like 25 to 28. Now we went from 28 to 29%. Woo! Yay me. Long story short, I had 2 minutes left to a chapter and I did that. Yay me. I'm so proud. Listen, I've been super sleepy because of the lack of caffeine. So at night, I just go to bed. I just can't function. But I did finish this one, which was Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead. This was good in an unhinged, anxious kind of way. I don't know how to rate this. I'm going to go ahead and give it 3 stars. But it's one of those 3-star books that are still worth reading for some people. It just, I rate my books based on my enjoyment, and I can't say I enjoy this. Some short stories, because again, I mentioned a bunch of little short stories. Some of them were good, but some of them not so much, and it got a bit intense towards the end, and I'm not sure how much I liked the ending, but if you want some great representation in terms of like anxiety and like depression and like just generational mental illness, this might be for you. I don't regret reading it, but yes, I can't say this was, the best book I've read so far this year, and I don't necessarily recommend reading it in the middle of winter when it's already depressing. I have not seen the sun in like 3 weeks. So, the next book I wanted to read was this one, The Kaiju Preservation Society. I finished that one too. I did force myself last night to finish it because the ending wasn't that great. I don't think people are going to agree because the reviews I had seen were really positive. I feel like the beginning is so much stronger than the ending. Like, it starts fun and like super intriguing topic. Obviously, this dude having to go and take care of like giant kaiju. Cool. But I don't feel like the ending sustained my entertainment. I don't think the last 100 pages sustained my interest enough. I was afraid of that in my last update. And yeah, I saw it coming, I guess, that it wasn't going to be as good as I thought it was going to be. But I don't regret, once again, reading it, but it's more like a 3.5 stars for me. I feel like the jokes were funny in the beginning, and by the end, I just realized that I wasn't emotionally invested enough in all the characters whenever they were, keeping it vague, saving the world. But it's a popcorn read. Like, it was fun for what it was. I'm glad I read it because it made me discover the author. I don't think every single one of his books are going to be this funny. I think I've heard that some of them aren't. But either way, I have some of his other books, like The Old Men's War. I really want to read that. So that just reminded me that I need to do this. So first book by the author, but definitely not the last one. It wasn't 100% for me. Solid beginning, though. I do recommend it. Again, I do think I'm going to have somewhat unpopular opinion with this one, but 3.5. I don't know if I'm going to round it up or down yet. It is what it is. Audiobook-wise, The Maid, I was at 26%, I think, last time. I'm now at 74. Great progress with this one. The only thing is, right after I put the book down, things just hit the fan, and I am, once again, not super emotionally invested. I just feel bad for the main female character. And I don't know if anybody else is going to agree because I've been avoiding looking at reviews to not get any spoilers, but it almost feels a bit condescending. Kinda? I don't know. Like, I get that she doesn't see social cue, blah, 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 but it just come off so weird. I don't know how I feel about it being used for a murder mystery, but I still have 26% left, so maybe I'll change my mind. We'll see. In the end, last but not least, the one I made a list. I was going to say the one I made the least progress. That's not true. That is the Brandon Sanderson one. But the best book I've read so far this week is this one, Women, Race, and Class. I am at page 14. I had barely started it last time, but I really enjoy this one. I can just already tell this is going to be a favorite. I had read the first page there's a PDF online when I first heard about it and I wanted to read it, and I realized quickly that no, you want to own a physical copy so you can, put some post-its and annotate it. And in the first 14 pages, like I said, it's already the best book that I read this week, even this year, even though I've only read a couple. And she just jumps right into it right away. The chapter I'm reading is called The Legacy of Slavery, Standards for a New Womanhood. And she's talking about how, our society tends to portray Black women as masculine, and that is just all as you can guess, due to slavery. And actually, I had one posted. It's for a quote if you want to read it, if you want to hear it. So when it was profitable to exploit them as if they were men, they were regarded in effect as genderless. But when they could be exploited, punished, or repressed in ways suited only for women, they were locked into the exclusively female roles. So highly recommend this. Like, if I could make you read only one book in this vlog, it would be this one. Again, I know I've only read 14 pages, but when you know, you know. So yes, I'm going to continue going through that one slowly because I do think it's going to be quite heavy and just a ton of things that are super interesting that I will need to absorb. So I will continue to do so, hopefully a little faster in 14 pages a week. But yeah, successful vlog because again, we brought it down from 5 actively reading to 3, which I'm happy with. I do want to finish the ebook soon, but my next vlog is going to be my read it or unhaul it, so I'm not going to be focusing on these. I will be able to continue the maid though. But yeah, that's it. Successful-ish. I thought I would have read more, but honestly, no caffeine made me so sleepy. Have you ever tried to cut off caffeine? I wasn't even addicted because I had like 1 cup, maybe 2, and cutting it off, no headaches, just a zombie all day. That's it. Let me know if you have read any of these, how you feel about them. Do you agree, disagree with my reviews? And yes, I will see you next week for my read it on holiday. I'm about to film the intro right now and pick a book from the jar, and I'm terrified. So I'll see you in my next video. Bye.